to be making this ornament. The laser cutter I'll be using to create this is the McPow X3 Pro. So let's get started. First, you'll open up Lightburn and then you'll save it. A lot of times it's easier to save it to your desktop, just so that's easy to find, but whatever place works best for you. You can make your own ornament, or you can get one from online, which is what I'm going to do today. We'll import it, and now we're going to trace it. So it's highlighted, you'll right click, trace image, and you're looking to see that it's fully traced, which it looks like it is, so I'll do OK. And then I'll pull it away from the original. And now I want to ungroup it because I don't want both lines there. I'm going to keep the outside one. I like the look of it with a smaller hole, so I'm going to delete the outside one. Here's the ornament that I'm going to be working with. I'm going to remove this original just because I don't want it in my way. I'm going to draw a circle to put on the inside. I know that doesn't line up, but we'll get there. I want it to line up with the bottom, and you can adjust with these tools with the width and height. If it's locked, then it will do both concurrently as shown, and then you can adjust like that. If you unlock it, then you can adjust the height and width individually. But because it's a different shape, I'm just going to make these minor adjustments with it unlocked. If you press Control and move your image, it moves slower. Height doesn't have to be perfect because some of it's going to get cut out for the interior square that I'm going to be doing. Now I'm going to draw a square, and I know that I want this square to fit a wallet-sized photo, and I'm going to do a landscape one. I'm going to unlock it, and the width of landscape is 3.5, and the height I want is 2.5. That is the area that I want my photo to fit. Now I'm going to drag this image over the ornament. So I'm going to actually need to increase the size so that this will fit in the ornament. I'm just going to do it based off of this circle, and I want the square to be somewhat centered within the circle. I need to keep increasing the size of this circle, and then I'm just going to use circle to get my ornament size to be the same size as this. I want this interior square to be close in size, but I don't want it to fully touch the edges because I don't want it to be cut out. I'm going to take the size of the circle. Now that I've made those adjustments, I'm just going to put this over the circle. I'm just going to increase this ornament size so that it will fit in the circle. It doesn't have to be exact. I want it pretty close because I want them to line up when I print it and put them together. If anything, I want this ornament to be a little bit bigger than the circle that it's inside. This looks like it's pretty good. Now the ornament shapes are the sizes that I need them to be. I'm going to put the square in the middle of the circle, and to get it to line up I'm going to do Shift and then click, and then I'm going to center it with Align V Center. I'm going to expand the square upward. We'll do the snipping tool, and the part I want to leave in is the center one. Snip that, and I want to snip the top of that rectangle, and we'll save it. This is what we have so far. This piece is going to be sandwiched in the middle. We'll have another ornament outline that'll go over the top of it. And now I need another 2x3 rectangle. I want this box to be centered. I think that looks pretty good. Now we're going to bring it over to the side. I'm going to duplicate the whole thing. We'll right click, duplicate, and we'll pull it all over. This box is just for reference so that we can line the pictures up. Now we're going to import our photos, and when doing so you want ones that have high quality because they'll show up the best. These are two of the photos we're going to use, and I'm also going to get the University of Washington logo. The process on all the photos is going to be pretty similar. You need it to not have a background. A lot of times to do that, I've used Windows 10 images. We're going to get these ready to use for this. So I'm going to set the gamma Depending on your laser cutter, you'll have to mess around with these to find what works best for you. For the laser cutter I'm using, this is roughly what I'll do, and then I'll make adjustments from here. I want this image traced, and then we'll pull it away from the original. And I'm going to trace it again because I want it to be on the smaller inside W. That's how it should look. I'm not selling this product. If you're going to be selling, you need to make sure that you have the copyright permissions. This inner one, I want it to be an image, so I'm going to put it on a new one to differentiate them. Now we're going to do these photos. It works best if you use a high quality image. You can erase the background. We're going to go over to shape properties. If it's not on this tab, then you can add it over here by going window and adding the shape properties. And this is just what I found that works pretty well for my laser engraver. Images that have a higher contrast will look better than ones that don't, and will be easy to work with on this. And I like how Jarvis or Stucky look the best. Fill shapes individually works pretty well, and I like how the outcome is for that. I'm pretty happy with how that one's looking. I'm going to take a look at this one. This one's really dark, so I'm just going to do the same settings as before and then see how it's looking. And with these, you'll probably just have to play with them until it's to your liking. The one I want in the middle is this one, so I'm going to make it smaller. And because the image isn't quite even, I'm going to put it over here because I kind of want his leg hidden. I'll just move it around until I get it how I like it. This one will go on the back. We'll set this aside for now. This W I want on the front. I need to select all of these, click Shift, and I'm going to group those together. I'm going to make this small, and I want the W at the bottom center, so I'm going to select it, Control, and then align V center. We're going to add the text now. I want a different font for this, so I'm going to do Great Vibes, and then just going to put above, and I'm going to decrease the size, and then I'm going to use this to curve it. I want it straight across the bottom. I want to align this with the ornament, so I'm going to click that, Shift, and then I'm going to do this top ornament and align V center. I think I want it to go down a little bit smaller. Align V center. This a little bit smaller. I'm going to bring it down just a little bit, and I'm going to center it again. Center this one, and I like the size of that. This is in the line, so this is going to get cut out. So I'm going to offset these words. I want it round, and I want it outward, and then I'm going to round these corners. Back to the select tool, and I want to do the same to this bottom corner here. Don't want it quite that much. And I'm going to actually bring this image down a little bit more because I want to hide the foot. We are going to finish up these words. We're going to click on them. We're going to do an offset outward, and then we'll zoom in and we'll click on the edge here. And we want to change this from fill to a line, but because we want this one filled, we're just going to put this one on a new layer. We'll do green for this layer, and we're going to change it from fill to, and then we'll make sure they won't get cut off. So I'm going to group these so that I can adjust the size, and they should both go at the same time. I'm just going to make sure that where I place it, none of the words are going to get cut off. And I'm liking how that looks. I'm actually going to make this bottom sentence a little bit smaller too. And now I'm just going to make sure I need to group those. Okay, now I'm going to make it smaller, and I'm going to center it again. I'm just going to center this one. It should be looking like this. Now I'm going to get this picture ready because this one will go on the back. So I'm going to just put it there. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, and I want to add the date of their engagement. So I'm just going to do the letters. Back to the select tool. I want those two centered together, and I can make the photo bigger, and then I'll just recenter. I'm going to group the date and the image so that I can move it off to the side. That's ready, and I want it so the image fits well. I want this to have a line but I don't want it to be cut out when we do that part. So I'm going to make sure that it is on the right layer before we cut. So I think this should be how I want everything. I will go over the layers and the settings for those, just so that they'll be correct and the parts that I want cut will be cut and the ones that won't be. We are finally going to take care of these words and get them so they won't get cut off when we do this edit. First, I'm going to remove this photo because it's not actually going to be printed on this one, it's going to be printed over here on this one. We're going to click the lines and we're going to ungroup them. Then we are going to click outside shift, click this inside square, and we're going to Boolean subtract. Then we're going to undo, and then we're going to Boolean subtract again. Now we're going to do the same thing to the bottom, group, we're going to click the outside, click the inside, and we're going to Boolean subtract. And it didn't quite do what I wanted, so we're going to do it again. There we go. We're going to save. I'm going to increase the size of this W a bit, and I'm going to align V-center. This one's done. Now I'm going to work on this one. So I'm going to remove the square, and we are going to duplicate this one. Oops. So I'm going to line those up, shift, click the outside, and align V-center. Looks like it's centered. And we are going to put this on the line. We need to change this green to this black because the black is what is going to get cut out. So that's going to get cut out. I want on green, and we are just going to do a line because with this one we just want it to trace it. And that way when it's printed we can line this one up on top of it. Now we're going to move this picture over to the inside of this one. How this is going to look is this will be in it like that. So I think right there will be good. I don't like the way the leg looks here, so I do want the words to overlap. And to just double check that, I'm just going to bring this whole thing over and line it up. And I'm just going to make sure that's how I want it. I like how it's like that. We're going to take this top one, I'm going to group it all together so that it'll be easier to move. I want this whole thing grouped together so that it is easier to see the placement of this picture. So I'm just going to put it over the top, line it up. It looks like those holes are a little off too, so better yet, just going to delete that back one and ungroup, group, and I want to select this outside one, duplicate. I want this inside, I want to group, and then I want to duplicate. Now they should go to get over and I can line them up. Now I will group this whole thing and I'm just going to overlay it over the top so that I get a good idea of where I want that picture lined up. And it looks like I can make this picture a little bit bigger. This picture is just meant to be like a bonus, or if they don't want to put any image in it, they don't have to. I don't really like how the feet look over here, so I'm just trying to cut that out while still lining it up. I'm pretty happy with how it looks. It looks like they're pretty evenly centered. Just going to take this top one back over. So that's how that will look there. This piece is to go in the middle so that you can take the photos in and out. I can remove that. And then on the back of this piece, we'll flip it over and we'll print this with the date. So I'll just get the date in. We're going to line that up. And we'll realign all this up again when we go to print. I'm going to put this screen on 2 because I want it filled. The screen is what I want outlined. And I was going to talk about these. So to get it to cut, I need a 240 power 100 for what it's going to cut. For areas where it's just filling, it'll be 6,000 and probably 80 is what I'll do for the images. So that's an image. This is the word, so I don't want this cut out. So I'll move this to 6,000. Where I want it cut should be everywhere that I have the black. Now I'm going to group everything together just so that it's easier for me to move things around a little bit right now, because I want to save as much of the wood as possible. I'm going to take this and I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to move it down and over a little. I will move this one up and over, and then I'll move this one up. This way I'm maximizing as much wood as possible so I'm not wasting as much. And then one other thing I want to see if I can try to get rid of is this little circle. I need to ungroup this one. I'm going to draw a box and we are going to shift. We're going to ungroup this, so it should be ungrouped. So I'm going to draw a box over that and then shift, select this, select. I want to subtract, and that went too far. I'm going to do it again, and there we go. Now I can take this box and backspace, and it's gone. And save it, and now I'm going to do a once over. Just make sure that everything is how I'm wanting it to be. With printing, I don't need this box anymore, so I'm going to remove that. And I have all the settings where I want them to be. When I do the print, I only want it to have the air on when it's doing this cut. The machine I have, it doesn't do the air in this program. I have to do it manually. So when I get it ready to cut, I want it to do the engraving first. So I'm going to only have it do these lines, like this image, the wording, and this green line. But before I have it cut it out, I'll flip this over and I'll mark on this one so that I can put this image here and take this one out so that I can have the date of their engagement in there as well on the back. Our project is done. This is what it should look like. This can be used to sell at craft shows, Etsy, or as a personalized gift. I decided to make this ornament as a gift for my sister and her fiance met at the University of Washington in the Husky Marching Band. I hope this helps. Good luck with your future selves.